I take great privilege and pleasure in inviting architect Karthikeyan, who has graduated from Mohammed Satak Engineering College, Kirakarai, and did his master's in Faculty of Architecture, MIT Manipal. And he has worked in several offices like Governor's Office, Rajnivas Puducherry, Hand in Hand Kanchipuram NGO, Intact Pondicherry, Fountainhead Architects, Bangalore. His academic experience ranges from Rajalakshmi School of Architecture, Sigma College of Architecture, and Faculty of Architecture, MIT Manipal. He has presented a lot of papers in research and publication sectors. One is on reclaiming the land of mining as an industrial heritage tourism, a case of Kolar Goldfields, Karnataka. Making Anganwadis as a multifunctional infrastructure, a case of Anganwadis in Kanchipuram. Using Bloom's taxonomy as a tool to evaluate and learning outcome in architecture pedagogy. Socio-economic impact of unsystematic mine closure, a case of Kolar Goldfields. He has also participated in a lot of workshops, FTP conferences, short courses on urban design, heritage conservation, architecture pedagogy for alumni from pedagogy. He is one of Kirakarai. So we want to offer you on the topic of theses, right from the selection of methodology to how one has to proceed with the thesis project. Because thesis is not about how one gets out of a college with some kind of a project in a wholesome, but it's all about the process on how you go about the entire thesis program. So we welcome you, sir. Over to you. You can now start the lecture. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for that warm introduction.
Okay, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I hope and wish everyone is safe and doing well. Let me start sharing my screen. I hope my audio and video both are clear.
Yes, sir. Very much. Yes.
Thank you. To begin with, as ma'am said, thesis is not something to do as one of your academic requirement. It is something which talks about you. Okay, it's you. Basically, thesis is you. There is nothing difference between you and your thesis. Your thesis is you, and your thesis is going to represent your capabilities and capacities once we pass out from our college. So to start with, today's structure will be like, there will be a brief introduction about what is thesis and things, and how to do a topic selection, types of thesis. Then we'll see, we'll start with synopsis. When we start about thesis, and once we are into our thesis semester, we always start with synopsis. So we'll see a brief content. Okay, what are the things has to be there in your synopsis and why it has to be there, and few key points about that. Then the study part, so where we do our case study, literature study, site study, and all those things, and few key points and checklist which we have to keep in mind when we are doing this study. Then about design, then about your sheets and the final report. So to start with introduction on thesis, okay, a general introduction on thesis, like maybe a Google's definition is something like a thesis, dissertation is a document which is submitted to support of a candidature for an academic degree. So we know that, okay, so to complete our graduation, to complete our course in BArch or MArch, so we'll be doing as our final project something called thesis, where we will be presenting our own, we'll be presenting the author's research and finding. So we will be presenting the research. Then it's again involving of personal research and written by the candidate. So it's more personal to us, like what we do or what we have done in the course time of our thesis, we will be presenting them. So what exactly our syllabus says? So syllabus says that all the architectural design courses offered since semester 2 accumulate in the thesis project to motivate students to involve in their individual research and methodology. So this will train them to handle projects independently. So we start with our basic design in our semester 1, then we slowly step into architectural design from our semester 2. So as we move on for each semester, the scale of the project, the typology of the project will be changing. So we would have gained a knowledge knowledge and experience on working on different scales of project from semester 1 till semester 9, so where or semester 8, where we'll be doing our urban design, then your practical training. So by end at the 10th semester, so we'll be able to independently work, frame our own methodology. Okay, so this is something where it's not like a common studio brief given by our faculty. So we frame our own methodology and design process. So how I'm going to move forward in my thesis. So which case study I'm going to do, where I'm going to do my special study. So everything is independently handled by you. So the main area or focus can be on architectural design, contemporary design, urban infill, environmental design, conservation, heritage presence, housing, and etc. Any topic, any diversity of topic, which includes architecture and other parameters, can be taken as your main core for your topic selection. Then about types of thesis. Generally, we have majorly two types of thesis. So one is research-based thesis and the other one is the design-based thesis. So let's see a brief difference between research-based thesis and design-based thesis. So research-based thesis, where 60 to 70% of your process will be involved on the study part. So only 30 to 40% will be as your design component. So this 60 to 70%, when we talk about research, it's more of a field work. You go, you take surveys, you talk with people, you talk with the beneficiaries, or you talk with the stakeholders. Or if your research-based thesis is always which revolves around either some problem or something which is happening, like study is involved. Okay, so generally we do that more in the PhD level, or if you're doing in your master's level, we'll be doing more of a research-based thesis. This for 30 to 40% of the design component will be like either you come up with your strategies or a master plan, or a very minimal discussion will be happening in your research. So we talk about design-based thesis, we hit 30 to 40% as your study. So this studies, we know that preset study, like case studies, literature study, special study on any topics, and your site study and things. Then 60 to 70% will be your design demonstration. So whatever the knowledge and the experience you gain from your study part will be applied onto your project or the core area or the design component, which will be your final outcome. So in an architectural level, okay, as a B.Arch thesis in a degree of undergraduate, we always insist on to take as a design thesis. It's not only we faculty or your mentors ask you to do, even your syllabus says that we have to take a design-based thesis, because the specific thrust should be on the architectural design of the built environment. So as the outcome of your thesis, you should be able to submit some projects, so which will have your presentation drawings, working drawings, detailed drawings, and study model as part of your requirements for your submission. So to come up with these or to fulfill this requirements of your curriculum, it is always suggested and best to take a thesis topic which is a design-based thesis topic. So where you will be coming out with a good architectural design as your outcome. And there's another it's a minimal requirement. So where you should have a threshold of keeping your total built-up area as your minimum of 10,000 square meters. Okay, because since it's a thesis project, so if you take any architectural design less than this built-up area, will be like more or like it will be like a studio project. So to come up and to have a design outcome as a thesis level or a thesis level pandra project அப்படியே நம்ம அவுட்கம் கொண்டு வர. It is always task. I'll reshare again.
Yes, sir.
I have put on slideshow. 1 minute. Okay, I'll share my entire screen.
Okay.
Is it visible, ma'am?
It is visible, sir, but it's still not in slideshow, but in the PPT. Yes, now it is visible. Yes.
So now my slides. Okay, I'll just go through my these things.
Okay.
Fast. Okay, it's a very brief introduction where we talk about what is thesis and things. Then we saw what exactly our syllabus says, and the core trust area where you can choose your main area of study or research for your architectural design. So thesis, then types of thesis where we saw about research thesis and design thesis. Then why to take design-based thesis, or why always design-based thesis more, and a minimum threshold of 10,000 square meters as your built-up area. Okay, now it's always a balancing task, okay, to between your research-based thesis and design-based thesis. So it's like, even though when we take design-based thesis, okay, you have taken any architectural project or any architectural thesis project, okay, which has a major design component. Most of the time, as a student, we always tend to lean more on your study part. We'll be got stuck with our case studies, literature studies. We'll be focusing more on that, and application of that study or your knowledge from your study will be little bit imbalanced. Okay, so it's always a balancing act. So your mentors and your guide will be helping you to balance between that study and your design component. And again, never overload yourself with too much of study component. Okay, have a threshold. Okay, I'm going to do 5 case studies. Okay, I'm going to do 4 case studies. Okay, I have to do my special study only on this focus area. So where we have to put ourselves a restriction point, okay, or a threshold point. Okay, I am going to stop my study over here. After this point, it's more of application of my knowledge and the things which I learned from my top different level. I put up 3 bets where your personal interest. Okay, so okay, by 8 semesters. 9 semesters of projects. Okay, now I have my interest on so and so. So you identify your personal interest and try to select some bits of a thesis scale. Okay, either it can be of any of your personal interest, like as I said, healthcare, urban design, or urban housing, or if you want to do something on your campus planning, if you want to design some architectural school, design schools, or if you want to do some medical college, 9 semesters I have done so and so projects. Okay, we never touched or we never explored this is after your 6 months of your practical training. So that time you might get inspired from of your office works or whatever the projects you have worked in your office, or from the experience and advices which you will get from your senior colleagues and co-interns in your office also. So you can also take a topic where you want to explore your strengths and possibilities. Okay, I've never worked on a healthcare project. Okay, let me do a 200 bedded hospital. Okay, let me take a 750 bedded hospital. Okay, we never did anything on a campus scale. Okay, let me take and do something like an IT training center or IT campus. So where you choose something, the areas where you wish to explore. Next, a third thing is like live proposals. So we have n number of projects running across the country. So you can take live proposals, which is out there, thesis project, you can start with. So each way, okay, each topic, each way of each process of live topic. Okay, so once your topic is finalized, okay, always we ask you to take minimum 3 to 4 as your options. So just to have be on a safer side, not to come with one of those. So they might be tempted with your same batchmate. Your immediate senior would have done a similar type of thing. I would have done in a very recent times also. So it's always better to have 3 to 4 options for your thesis topic. Once your topic is done, okay, once you choose 3 to 4 topics, now it's time to do your synopsis for all these 4 topics. So what is a synopsis? Okay, a synopsis is nothing but a brief summary, or it's outline of the plot. More or less how to tell us, it's like a movie trailer. Okay, so now you got a very recent trailer is Jagamandhiram, Dash movie. So okay, trailer Pakambo is great. Okay, but we don't know exactly what the movie is. But we know who's the hero, heroine, who's the villain, okay, who's the music director of that movie, who's the director, and where the movie would have shot. Like, okay, they have gone to different locations. Okay, few scenes you can see that, okay, they have taken it in India, few things they have taken it in abroad. So that way, your synopsis should be like a trailer, a movie trailer. So where the panel or your mentor should know that, okay, this student is going to exactly do these things or these things as the final outcome of his thesis, or he is planning to do in these way. Like, it should give a very brief process, your thesis, your understanding on a holistic picture. So that's about the synopsis. So when we come into the contents of synopsis, so synopsis should have a aim. Okay, see, writing the aim is very simple. Okay, keep it to the point. It's like how we write our 10th standard and 12th standard record book. Okay, aim is to experiment, to dissect the frog. Okay, to do the salt analysis, to do the titration. Okay, like that. Always start your aim with 2, TO2. Okay, so it should be to the point. You need not to do lot of stories and words. Okay, so it has to. Once your aim is done, you have to frame the objectives. So objectives are nothing but the goal to achieve this aim. For example, let me tell from my own example. Okay, my thesis was on developing an integrated Weavers hub. So to achieve that, okay, to design that integrated hub or Weavers hub, what are the goals? Okay, first one, a special study on Weavers community, a special study weaving, because for these kind of projects you don't find anything on your TSS or your new 4th standard. So you have to go and see, okay, how the weaving is done, how the weaving process is done, what are the different spaces we need. So you have to frame your this object and be very precise. Keep it between 4 to 5, not more than that. So your number of objectives should be between 4 to 5, and maybe 3 or 4 objectives can be measurable objectives. Say how much of survey and how much of case studies we done, or this will be your area of special study or your research. Then once your aim and objective is framed, now you have to tell the scope of this project. When we talk about scope, we always have 2 components. So one is your design scope, and second one is the scope in the current scenario. So what is the need of the project? That current scenario scope. So exactly what is the need of bringing up such project in the current scenario? You have to talk about that, the need of the project, then about the design scope. So when we talk about design scope, you have to exactly tell what you will be designing in that and what are the design components. Because as we saw in the previous slides, where we should have that minimum of 10,000 square meters as your built up area. So to achieve that, you should have minimum requirements to design or minimum spatial requirements to design. So always make sure that you have your design scope and your need of your project or the scope in the current scenario framed well. So once these 3 things are framed, next you have to do your limitations. So this limitation is somewhere, for example, if you are doing a campus design, sometimes we take a larger campus. Okay, for example, if you are taking a live proposal of IIT or NIT campus, so it will be like 100 acres or 200 acres. So again, for that entire campus, you will be able to do the master plan, but again, detailing out each and every academic block will be difficult. So when you are taking a project which is beyond your scale, okay, it is where more of master planning or more of planning level is involved in your design thesis. So there comes your majorly comes your limitations. The second point is where somewhere you can't go and do, like you may not be able to find exact similar scale or similar context of your live case studies. So there you have to limit yourself on more of your secondary data or your literature case studies. So this way you have to frame your limitation. So that will give an idea to your mentor on the panel. Okay, so these things the students are not going to do. Okay, on these areas, the students will have restrictions or limitations on that. Then about your case studies. So again, where it has to be relevant. Okay, first, it's not about simply telling, okay, these are the 3 case studies or these are the 5 case studies and 6 case studies I'm going to do. You have to brief it on how it is relevant to your topic or your area of study. Okay, case studies are something where you have to take it similar as your project. Okay, we'll be seeing again detail in the upcoming slides. So to brief it on, so it is very simple. It has to be very relevant to your topic or your area of study. Next, your site. So under the site, when we again come up with site, we will ask you to come up with 3 to 4 options for your site. So where you have to justify. So the justification is majorly where the capacity of the site to withhold that project. So if you're proposing an hospital, okay, if you're proposing an IT campus, if you're proposing a college campus, if you're doing a very creative design school, so the site, the location where you are chosen should have the capacity to withhold the project and should have a proper functioning of that project. Okay, so where, see, it's not like simply we take a site, we design and we put our project over there. On a long run, that project has to function, right? So that is the major, that is the key goal or the important thing of any project. Even though if we do a small resident, whatever it is, so that project has to run, right? So as an investor, as an owner of that project, think in that terms. Okay, you'll be investing a lot of money in that. Okay, you have to take returns from that. So that way, the site should have the capacity to withhold the project for the successful running of the project in the long run. So that has to be taken care when you choose your site. So next, about your requirements. So at least the approximate area requirements you should come up. Again, once you do your site study, case study, and your literature study, later again you'll be reframing your requirements according to your project site. Okay, I hope I am clear so far. Okay, next, to start with the study part. So majorly we do two studies as part of our thesis, architectural thesis. So one is your case studies. So case studies, either it can be live case study or the secondary case study or the literature case study. So where we will be referring a lot of books or internet sources to take information or knowledge from the similar kind of projects which has been already executed. Then about our site. So where we are going to demonstrate our design model or the architectural design. So that is our site study. So to start with case study, few points about case study. So case study is nothing but a detailed study of a specific project. So it has to be get aware what to be done and what not to be done on your design beforehand. So a case study it's not always to see only the positives of that case studies. I personally always suggest to see what are the negatives of that case studies also, so that you don't repeat the same mistakes, same mistakes or the same design, defaults or things again on your design. Or workout agala. See, for example, if you are doing a live case study, you are going there, experience that case study as that user. Okay, just forget for an hour or two. Forget that you are an architecture student, you are there for your case study. Just experience that place as the user. Okay, for example, if you are doing a bus terminal as your thesis topic, experience that entire bus terminal as a passenger. So then you will know, okay, as a passenger, what are the things are very comfortable for me, which are the things are not comfortable for me, what are the things would have been better, or what are the components could have been added so that the entire experience of that place could have been better. So this way you list down all the positives and negatives of that case study. So we make sure that we implement all these positives in our design. Second way, we try to rectify it. Okay, even though I know on beforehand, I know, okay, that these are the negative things which might come in my design. So since you know that beforehand, you can rectify it, or almost you'll try to avoid it implementing all those negatives in your design process. So next about your, it's always done through your live studies and your secondary sources. So secondary sources never restrict to only your internet. Refer a lot of articles, research paper, go for libraries of different architectural schools, and also refer for magazines, and so where you can take a lot of projects and inspirations for your design. So minimum, it's a minimum requirement to have 2 to 3 live case studies and again 2 to 3 secondary study. So where you, on a whole picture you will have minimum 5 to 6 case studies done for your project. Okay, if you don't find a case study as per your requirements or design, see, for example, then you have to split up your entire design components into your smaller components. See, for example, let me explain that. See, this is my requirements for my Silk Weaver hub. So there will be almost these 10 to 12 requirements as part of my synopsis or my design proposal. So what happened was I was not able to find one whole case study or one whole project where I have all these components in there. So now what I have study each of these components separately or in a partial way. See, for example, I did a case study in Hyderabad. Okay, that's again Pochampalli high-tech looming park. So where I was able to understand silk production, silk processing, silk weaving in that, but I was not able to understand the research center or Silk Institute. So for this research center and Silk Institute, again I have to look for one more case study or a different case study. So when you don't find all your requirements on one case study, you split up all these requirements into smaller components and choose 4 or 5 case studies accordingly. So key points while choosing your case study. So first one is it has to be of your similar context. So whatever project you are doing, so for example, if you are doing a 100-bedded hospital as your thesis, you have to do a case study of your 100-bedded hospital scale. So again, if you are doing a site area of 75 acres or 80 acres, again, try to find a case study or a project which is executed in the similar scale. So try to match your requirements also. Okay, so if you are giving 6 to 7 requirements, again see that whether all these case studies also have similar requirements. Okay, not exactly, at least close to that. It should have, like if you have 6 requirements, you are choosing a case study. At least it should have 4 to 5 requirements of your list. So that case study will be a better study for you. So you will understand your project. So நம்மளோட requirements என்னவோ அதே மாதிரி requirements இருக்கிற ஒரு case study எடுக்கும்போது the application you will understand. Okay, the proximity, the design components, how they are oriented one place to other, and how they are positioned different areas in one huge site, and all these things can be understood when the requirements matches. Then again look for a better design and the better example. It is the better case study where you will be able to learn a lot. So when we talk about checklist for case study, okay, if a case study choose paniyache, we know what are the parameters we have to have in hand while choosing a case study. Okay, now I'm done with choosing my case study. Now what are the information I need, okay, as a checklist? So again, when we talk about case study checklist, this has 2 components. So one has your information, another has your analysis. So first, as your information, first we should have the story or the narration. Okay, where is this project is located, who is the architect, what is the area, etc., etc. So all the information, okay, or the story we need, first we have to have that in hand. Then we should talk about the rules and regulations, either something particular to that related to that project or the site. Second one about your measurements. Then about your site and surroundings, it's very much important to understand, always to understand your surroundings. Then about your services and things. So it's again a general thing what we see in our case study. So once this is done, now we'll start our analysis. So when we are doing our case study analysis, we should always look into the neighborhood. See, it's not about whenever we do any architectural project, okay, or your thesis, any project in architecture, it's not to see site as a separate entity, okay. Always take your site and take at least 200 to 300 meter radius around your site, okay, because these site surroundings will have a direct impact on your project, and your project will have a direct impact on all these surroundings. So once you understand your site and your neighborhood and its surroundings, we will come up with a better design. So which will two things. So one is it will get merged with your neighborhood. The second thing is it again won't be an odd man out. Okay, so when we are proposing something without understanding the surrounding and neighborhood, so most of the times our project will stand out as an odd man out. So it should not be that. So it has to merge with the existing fabric. It has to merge with the existing condition already around your particular site. Next, about the accessibility. So when we talk about accessibility, what are the various connections it has? See, for example, I'm proposing a college. Okay, if I'm proposing a university in a particular site. So now I want my teachers, my faculties, other workers to reach that place so that my college works round the clock well. So where we talk about the accessibility, how well your site is connected with a different mode of transportation and things. Then about zoning. Okay, so then you will come out into your case study. Okay, how they have done their zoning, how they have split the various places and different zones, and how they have created a very nice bifurcation between two different zones, how the connection has been given. All these things can be done once you analyze on the zoning of your case study. Then about your form. So once our master plan level, so where site and surrounding, approach to the site, then within the site is done, then we'll jump into our building. So now we start doing your design analysis, whether this form is correct, okay, whether how the planning has been done. So where you will be doing your analysis of your floor plans. When you do analysis of your floor plans, always do cut a lot of vertical sections, do your vertical zoning also. So then you will understand, okay, okay, if this component is in the ground floor, is it preferable to keep the other component on the first floor or not, one above the other? All these accessibility, okay, within your building can be understood when you do your design analysis on the form analysis of your particular case study. Okay. Next, about your site selection. Okay, so far we know we have chosen a topic. We framed a trailer for our topic which is chosen. Then we chose a case study for our similar topic. Then we learned what are the different key points which we have to understand or look into our case study. Now the site selection. The first one is context. Again, access and location. As I'm stressing from the first, so the site should have the capacity to hold the project. So when we talk about capacity to hold the project, once the project is executed on that site, on a long run, it should function properly. Then we should see the scope for development, exactly whether that piece of land has a scope or the capacity to run your project on the overall. Then you have to check for the land use, land ownership, and the land values. So again, when we talk about site study, particularly in terms of information, we have to collect two sets of information for site study. So one is site and second one is and its surroundings. So it is very important to understand both in depth. So as we saw in our case study also, same way you have to understand your site and its surrounding both. So when we talk about site study and analysis, these elements will be always like these are very well known. We always see these are the components within the site. So the topography of the site, so, the climate, what is the vegetation, then these are the elements which is around your site. The sound, okay, the sound and then this views and vistas, okay, sound views and vistas will be like either from your site or around your site. It will happen both the way. See, for example, if I'm proposing a large scale industrial complex, so then my site is going to produce a lot of sound. No, for example, if I'm proposing a hospital, in between a very crowded or densely packed area. So now my hospital is going to get a lot of sound because of the traffic and movement which is happening around my site. So the sound can happen within the site or from outside the site also. See, when we talk about views and vistas, two things. What you will see from your site and how your site will look outside. Okay, or site இருக்கு அதுக்கான road இருக்கு சைட்ல இருந்து ஒரு 200 meters 300 meters நான் தள்ளி நின்னு பார்த்தா how my site will be prepared. So based on that views and vistas, you will zone and you will plan all your things aesthetically. Second thing, see for example, I'm designing an high-rise apartment. Okay, now as a tenant or as a buyer, I'm living on the 13th floor of that apartment. If I open my balcony window or my master bedroom window, what I'll see from the 13th floor also matters a lot. Okay, so that's why people come up with their lake view apartment, mountain view apartment, and so on. So like that, what you are going to view from your side. So the surroundings like that, again we should be doing a zoning and placement of our things. Next, do a lot of diagrammatic representation. Okay, so when we talk about site study and analysis, do a lot of such diagrammatic representations. So this is again a very good book, okay, written by Edward T. White, Site Analysis, Diagramming Information for Architectural Design. It's available for free on internet. You can download it. So it again we know, okay, in the book site analysis elements and components, we are well aware of that, but it will give you an idea how to represent very well in a graphical manner. So that you will understand in this book, and it will help a lot for a better site understanding and analysis in a thesis level. Then draw a lot of site sections. Okay, so when you are doing your analysis or when you are doing your site study, draw a lot of site sections. Okay, that will help you to understand the scale, proximity, and all these things. Okay, rather than seeing everything in a plan, always draw a lot of sections. I personally suggest do lot of sections, so that will help you to understand and experience the place in a better way. Okay, now we know. Okay, so topic is done, synopsis is almost there. Okay, we know how to choose a case study, what should be done as part of your site study and things. Now coming to the design part. So now so far we have gained knowledge. Okay, so so far we have gained the lot of different aspects which has to be considered in your design or your particular type of project. Now the application part. So when we apply this knowledge or your experience onto your own design, we should always consider excuse me. Now, hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. So, major three aspects. Okay, so for a better to have a good product, you should always have a better process. So, those three aspects. First one is our design has to be very functional. So, when we talk about functional, where we are trying to achieve the minimal area requirement or the minimal spatial requirement as per your standard norms and regulations for the proper functioning of your design. That is your functional aspects. Second one is sensible. Okay, so to make your design more sensible, it is very easy, where we have to put a lot of our common sense. Okay, so where you have to start experience your design as a user, not as an architect or the designer. Say for example, if you are designing an hospital, start to experience your hospital or your own design as a patient. Okay, for example, you're a COVID patient. You're entering that hospital. Okay, or for example, you're just a normal visitor to that hospital. Okay, some of your relative or loved one is admitted in that hospital. You're going to visit them. So experience your own design as a particular user. So then you will understand all your hiccups in your design, and it will help you to rectify that from a user's point of view and make it more sensible. So this will help you to avoid a lot of unconscious error. Okay, these are not conscious error. Many a times our unconscious error will happen in the placement of doors, windows, and furnitures. We randomly keep doors and windows and furnitures. So when we think, okay, how functional it will or how sensible it is, then that creates a huge question mark. So when you do this exercise, okay, where experiencing your own design as a particular user will always avoid lot of unconscious error which we make. Then about aesthetics. So again, when we say about aesthetics, how visually pleasing your building is, okay, where we don't give lot of projections and lot of darks and ventilators, which is very evident to our eye level. So how are my building or how my design is will look or have its appearance from outside the site. See, if I am passerby on a road, so if I'm sitting in my car, how my design or how my building is will appear to the passerby around me. So where three things I repeat that: one is functional, second one is sensible, and third one is aesthetics. So once you take care of these three things, okay, this is a process. Okay, this is nothing. This is a process. So once you do this, all these three process and understanding, you'll always have a better and a good product. Okay, just to do little bit of divert little bit outside our topic, let us check our capability. Okay, so so we have seen. I'll stop screen sharing for 2 minutes. I want you to use your chat boxes. Let us do a small thing. Okay, whether sir என்னால பண்ண முடியுமா அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு டவுட் எப்பயுமே இருக்கும். Whatever even now at any point of time, whatever it is, we'll always have a doubt. Whether am I capable of doing that? Okay, whether am I capable to achieve all these things? Whether I'm able to do that? Yes, we all are positive thinkers. Yes, we can do. But somewhere that little bit of human error, or human doubt will be always there with us. Okay, let us just rectify that. Very simple. It's a very simple exercise. You have to just close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes and just imagine the scenario, whatever I tell. Okay, close your eyes and just imagine. I'm just asking you to close your eyes just so that you'll have a better imagination. Okay, so let us start. So now we are in a very deep forest. Okay, you are into a very deep forest. You see a lot of birds, animals, lot of green. Everything is around you, very beautiful. You on somewhere you're hearing lot of flow of river, waterfalls. It's very therapeutic and very like a nature lover. You are slowly walking into that. Okay, you are slowly walking into that deep forest. Suddenly, you are seeing an elephant. Okay, there's a huge elephant which is just standing opposite you. Okay, just imagine this. Okay, so there's a huge elephant. That elephant is not a pink color elephant. Again, repeat. Don't imagine a pink color elephant standing in front of you. You are walking. You just saw an elephant. That elephant is not a pink color elephant. So again, I repeat. The elephant which you see in front of you, which is very large and gigantic, is not a pink color elephant. Okay, fine. Now I want you to use your chat box. For how many of you pink color elephant came in front? Imagine பண்ணும்போது எத்தனை பேருக்கு கண்ணுக்கு முன்னாடி pink color elephant வந்துட்டு போச்சு? You can type yes. Thank you. For how many of you at least pink color appeared? Even though if not pink color elephant, for how many of you at least pink color appeared? If you just got only pink color, you can type no. Okay, very nice. Many people have got pink color elephant. Very simple path, that's all. Okay. Our brain is designed in such a way that it can't take negative comments. Negative comments in the sense of pannada, panna mudiyadu. See, I asked you not to imagine a pink color elephant. I said not to imagine. Then why so many people got pink color elephant in front of their eyes? Okay, many psychologists, it's an experiment. Okay, like a lot of psychologists done. Recently, I also came to know from one of my other event which I attended. ஸோ சேம் ப்ராப்ளம் வித் அஸ். அப்படிதானே, நம்ம வில் டெல் தட் ஓகே நாளையிலேருந்து நான் லேட்டாக தூங்க மாட்டேன், நாளிலேருந்து சீக்கிரமா எந்திரிக்கணும், தூங்க மாட்டேன். லைக் whenever we tell that I don't, I won't அப்படிங்கிற அந்த won't don't நம்ம மைண்ட் வந்து எடுத்துக்காது. ஸோ when we are able to imagine a very small pink color elephant, this is very easy. ஓகேங்களா, we will be able to do it, so don't worry. So let me start again screen sharing. You can experiment this, you can experiment with your siblings, family members. After this webinar is done, you can just ask them to imagine. It need not to be pink color, it can be any color. So most of the times, even if people are not able to get a pink color elephant, at least they will get pink color. Okay, hope my screen is visible again.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So it's a pink elephant. It's a pink elephant experiment. Okay. Next, so once our study, case study, things, everything is done, now it is to come up with our final product. Okay, where it is our sheets and report. Okay, so sheets are the final product and report are the lifelong reference. So reference for both, for you and the next generation which comes for your next set of juniors who is going to study in that school. Even for the people from other schools also, it's a very lifelong reference of what you do as a report. So when we do sheets, so please convert all your text into graphics or infographics. Avoid lot of text, okay? If you're composing, it can be any size of sheet, okay? A3, A4, A2, A0. Avoid, always have minimal text, okay? So it is always suggested to have 60-40 or 70-30 ratio. So where you have 60 to 70% as your graphics. So when we talk about graphics, it can be sections, sketches, plan, maps, photographs, and all these things. So when we talk about text, it's only 30 to 40%. So when we tell only to 30 to 40%, it is that you put all your points as a key points, as a bullet points. It has to be very precise and it has to be to the point. Need not to tell lot of stories when you are doing your sheets. So you can elaborate it, you can explain all these things detailed when you're doing in report, but always avoid writing in paragraphs or large lines or huge sentences or lot of stories in your sheets. So always keep the text in the bullet points. So put key points, paragraphs not more than 4-5 lines. See, for example, if I explain something, if there's a small paragraph coming up, it should not be more than 4 to 5 lines. So keep the content crisp and to the point. Okay, enna solla varum அப்படிங்கறத மட்டும் சொன்னா it's very simple. I hope many of you follow Tamil and see Vadivelu comedy. So how you give a very long explanation for onion uttapam, கடைசியா சர்வர் வந்து அண்ணனுக்கு ஒரு ஆனியன் ஊத்தாப்பம்னு சொல்லிட்டு போவார். அவ்வளவுதான். ஒரு ஆனியன் ஊத்தாப்பம் அளவுக்கு நம்ம கண்டென்ட் இருந்தா போதும். அது எப்படி வேணும், வெங்காயம் எவ்வளவு போடணும், அதுல நீ எத்தனை கரண்டி ஊத்தணும், என்ன எல்லாமே நம்ம ரிப்போர்ட்ல பேசலாம். இங்க ஷீட்ஸ்ல we have to tell to the point. It has to, content has to be very crisp. So add reference on end of each sheet. So it's very important. See, as a undergraduate thesis, many things, okay, almost 80 to 85% of the content what we put in our sheets will be from the secondary resources or from the other reference sources. So always give credits to that author. எங்க இருந்து எடுத்தேன், எந்த புக்ல படிச்சேன், எந்த வெப்சைட்ல போய் பார்த்தேன். So you have to add your inferences at the bottom of each sheet. Okay, I personally prefer quality over quantity. It's not about we make 100 sheets, 250 sheets. Okay, if your project demands that, you do it. But even though if we do 10 sheets, that 10 sheets should be a quality sheets. Okay, it should talk. That 10 sheets, okay, it's not about more of a number, it's more about the quality. Okay, so as our great grandfathers in architecture says, okay, Lee Corbusier says that I prefer drawing to talking. Drawing is faster and leaves room for less lies. Same way a sheet should have a lot of graphics. So God lives in details. So where Mies van der Rohe says that. So again, these two great grandfathers, okay, Kollu Tata, adukum mera tatas of our architectures. So solra mari, do put lot of graphics and drawing sketches and things, always reduce the content or amount of text in your sheets. So when it comes about report, my personal suggestion is always start doing a report parallelly with your other things. Okay, சும்மா டைம் கிடைக்கும் போதெல்லாம் போர் அடிக்கிறது உட்காந்து ஷீட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், கேஸ் ஸ்டடி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், a little bit bored, rather than scrolling your Instagram and Facebook, sit and do 2 pages of report, 3 pages of report. Okay, please don't believe that I'll do overnight miracles for report. So many of the time we fail to do that. So few things that's very common. So font, it has to be of Times New Roman. Text height, headings will be 14. The content or subheading will be 12. If you have any captions in terms of like if you're captioning your picture or if you're adding any reference, so that can be between 8.5 to 10. Always use justified text alignment. Add your design sheets in a A3 format at the end. Don't keep your design, compress that and keep it in a A4 size. Okay, it may not help you also in the future or the person who is referring that. So always have your design sheets as in a A3 format at the end of your report. Okay. See, come on. So far we are done. So thesis na enna ellam paathu, sheets eppadi pananum, sheets ku enna oru sila tips ellame paathachu. From my personal experience, okay, so few are the key tips. Thesis enna pananum enna panna kudadu அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி. So very first thing is always have a SMART goal, okay, which is very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. So when we talk about time, thesis semester 4 months, take a thesis topic or fix your goal, which you can do within that 4 months. Okay, have a relevant to that particular, அந்த டைம்ல உங்களால என்ன பண்ண முடியும், என்ன தெரியும் அப்படிங்கறத have a SMART goals for your thesis. Second thing is never have anything you don't like on your plate. எனக்கு பிடிக்காது, எனக்கு இது வராது, எனக்கு இது பிடிக்காது. ஓகே, மோர் தென் வராதுங்கிறத விட நோ, ஐ எம் நாட் கம்ஃபர்டபிள் வித் திஸ் டைபாலஜி ஆஃப் ப்ராஜெக்ட். ஓகே, ஐ எம் நாட் கம்ஃபர்டபிள் வித் திஸ் ஸ்கேல் ஆஃப் ப்ராஜெக்ட். ஓகே, அவாய்ட் இட். ஓகே, ட்ரை டு ஹாவ் சம்திங் விச் யூ லைக் ஆன் யுவர் பிளேட் அண்ட் நெவர் லெட் திங்ஸ் ஓவர்ஃப்ளோ. இது பண்ணலாமா, அது பண்ணலாமா, அது நோ, யூட்டிலைஸ் திஸ். ஓகே, நவ் ஆஸ் பர் யுவர் Anna University curriculum, we have 6 months of your internship time. So entire 9th semester, utilize it. You find your own niche. What is your strengths, what is your capability and things. So then you'll always implement that better in your thesis. So try to avoid new experiments. Okay, so according to me, it's like, see, for example, if you are not into more of a software person, okay, if you are not very well aware of simulations and things, okay, never try to experiment something new in the thesis semester. Okay, utilize this 9th semester or the semester before your thesis semester. You learn it. Okay, so you're like in the software varadu, okay, எனக்கு இது தெரியாது. Okay, learn it beforehand. Okay, not along with your thesis. Don't experiment of new things. So that will again add a lot of burden. So more than academic work, it's art of balancing. Okay, so thesis is like you have to balance a lot of things. So immediately after thesis, you'll be thinking about your master's polama, whether I'm going to start my own practice, whether I'm going to work in a different firm. So all these things, okay, along with your thesis, you have to do again a lot of balancing act from the top till the end level. So be prepared for that also. Then very important, okay, thesis romba smootha ponum appadina networking is key. See, very simple. Try to identify friends and seniors who have done similar kind of projects already in your school or different schools. Okay, so many a times it helped me a lot personally. Okay, so just it's very simple. That too in a digital world, very simple. I find some reference. Okay, yaar panna, you just type their name on the Google will give their LinkedIn profile, Instagram profile, Facebook profile, everything. Just go approach them, have a request. So tell them first, you tell them, okay, na idallam paniruken, here is my hiccup, so I'm stuck somewhere here, so please help me with that. So I saw your project, you have already done a project on the similar line, so I'm unable to find a case study. So it is very simple. People are out there to help. Okay, so all my both UG thesis and PG thesis, I have networked with a lot of people, okay, from India and abroad. So they gave me like references for a lot of books which I never found. Number search பண்ணும்போது கிடைக்காது. Okay, that is that Google algorithm works differently for each people. Yeah, so நான் போய் ஒரு book search பண்ணனா maybe I may not find that. But if you search, maybe you find that. So networking is a key. Okay, that too in this digital era, it is very simple. Okay, try to have a lot of new friends, particularly in this thesis semester, who is working or who have worked already on your similar type of projects or the similar projects. That will help you a lot. Next, three things. Okay, so whenever you do your thesis, this is very common. Okay, whenever we do even small presentation. Okay, so three things has to be there: ethos, logos, and pathos. Okay, so first one is ethos is something credible. That is the credit. Okay, that is credibility and the ethics. So credibility is something like where you have to own it. Okay, இது என்னோடது. Okay, this is my project. அப்படிங்கிறது. When you talk about logos, it should have a little bit of logic in that. When you talk about pathos, emotions and feelings. So when we talk about emotions, feelings, it's about more about user. Okay, I'm going to uplift the life of these people. Okay, I'm going to give a better design solution for these people. Okay, I'm going to give a different experience. I'm going to give a different built experience to these people. Where you have all these three in a right proportion. Okay, so ethos is something where you have to do which is right wrong. Pathos is something which is very much personal. It's feelings. Okay, then logos is something logical where you think from your brain. இது என்ன கரெக்டா தப்பா இதுக்கான ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ் என்ன, all these things comes under logos. So when you have all these three proportionately in your design, you will be able to face any jury. You can talk in front of n number of audience. It's a very common tip which I got even from my mentors. Okay, thank you for your time. You can post if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat box. Thank you so much. Hope I was clear.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one question. What recommendation or changes would you suggest for students who may have to do their thesis during lockdown in terms of topic selection and work in progress?
Yes. See, during this lockdown time, this is like we are more into. Ma'am, someone mic is on. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So the challenges what we face is now we may not be able to go for live case studies. So try to extract as much as things can be done from your secondary sources. Okay, secondary sources. Now, as I said, where networking is a key, look for, find for friends, from other colleges, other schools, ask them whether their seniors or someone has done similar projects and ask for their reports. Okay, reports are very much important. So in reports, you will understand in better way. That is the suggestible process in this lockdown, as considering our safety, and again, on the other hand, we have to complete our thesis also. Okay, or if you are going out, I have to go and see my case study. If you got permission or everything is done, okay, take utmost precaution and go out. Other than that, my recommendation is always, it's okay, we can do, we can understand, okay, as architects and students of architecture, we are capable of understanding everything. Okay, so we'll be able to understand a lot of things from our secondary resources. So depend more on your secondary resources. Hope I answered your question, Anirudh.
If the participants have any questions, you can unmute your mic and ask your questions straight away to the speaker. Otherwise, you can drop your questions in the chat box. You will not be getting the number of the speaker. Please do not give me a call on that. You will have to ask your doubt now itself. I think the information has to sink in before they could come up with any question, because the amount of input that you have given. Karthikeyan sir, I now realize why you are so much ahead of all of your seniors. I have always wondered to see even many conferences and the posters from where I can find that you are participating in numerous conferences. Now I understand the way you have presented the entire methodology of thesis is way different from what I have seen in the earlier times. it normally any speaker would come and talk mostly about the way their project went ahead in the process of thesis, but here the entire background of it is revealed well, and I think the students have to let the information sink in before they could come up with any questions. So if there is anything that needs to be clarified, I'll get back in touch with you, because I can see there are no questions. Either the information is very clear or clearly
They need-
presented by you. Otherwise, they need some time to come up with questions.
Sure, sure.
It should be the.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such wonderful words.
Yes, Karthikeyan sir, and it is very nice to see you after a very long time, and I thank you so much for being a part of this annual lecture series. Yours is one of the seminar we had highest number of participants staying till the last minute of the presentation. So we are very happy that you have accepted this and being a part of this. Thank you so much. I couldn't thank you enough for this wonderful presentation, Karthikeyan sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I would like to thank our management college and as well as Dean, HOD principal for giving me an opportunity to conduct this annual lecture series, being a part of it. And I would also like to thank the students and staffs for being so patiently listening to all these lectures in spite of the unusual circumstances that are going around. So thank you so much for that. One last call. If there is any question that needs to be answered, please post it in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Yes. So there is no as such. There is one. There is one student who has posted for a minute's time. Yes, Janani. I think she's typing.
Meanwhile, I thank the management and students of Mohammed Satta KJ for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you. I hope I didn't overflow too many things, but I hope this will help you to come up with a better thesis.
Janani, are you posting a question? Yeah. Design projects can be difficult in real life. How seriously should I take this line for my thesis, sir?
This means you are trying to tell Janani, if I'm not wrong, you're telling that design projects can be difficult in real life. How seriously should I take? Maybe something where you're talking about a hypothetical project or something. Generally, as a student, we always come up with that. If I'm not wrong, I'm understanding that question in that sense. Okay, it's okay to explore hypothetical things, but always please make sure that you have sufficient amount of information or things to back up your thought. Okay, so where design projects can be difficult in real life, that is more of hypothetical or may not fit in very immediately in the near future or immediate context. Yeah, we can experiment our theses and things on such planes also, but please make sure that you have sufficient amount of data to withstand or support your thoughts and process. I hope I answered your question. Yes. Ma'am, you're on mute. Sorry, ma'am.
Sorry. So the students are asking for your contact email ID. So if there is any common platform through which the students can communicate with you, if you could share that with us, it would be really helpful for us in the future proceedings.
Yes, ma'am.
I have all the details. I just need your permission to share it with them. Yes.
You can share my email ID, ma'am.
Yes, I will share their your email ID to the students so that they might have some questions regarding once when they start with the process of this thesis methodology, I believe. So
Sure.
thank you so much, sir. And more than the work, I can really see the enthusiasm and the emotional connect that you had towards your thesis, which I had only during the time of my MR thesis. That was in 2016. Yes, that was my MR thesis. So it took a lot of time for me to get attached to the subject emotionally, and I really wonder how you could get connected to the thesis of your BIAC. BIAC was just a burden for me, at least. So I was just proceeding with whatever I had, the information that I had with me, or as you said, more of secondary data. Primary data was very tough to collect as the project was hospital. So I relied mostly on my secondary data, and as well, it was like, when am I going to complete it and get over with it? So MArch was one passionate thesis which I have done, but
Yes.
it's good to see such enthusiasm, and we would really like to have you in our future seminars too, sir. It is a request, you could consider that for further
Sure.
seminars.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.